And like I said, we want to kind of jam a, let's turn this stuff off. We want to jam a sphere, again, that we're going to use to replace that other source. But same thing, polygon, high frequency. This can be, you know, way smaller. This can be like third of size. And what I want to do is I kind of want to shape it so that it's jammed into his mouth. So something like, we'll make it longer along this axis. We'll make it less long like that because we want to fit it sideways into his mouth. I'll round these off to some numbers for you there. And let's see, what else can we do? We can rotate it to fit into his mouth a little better. So like something like that, about 11 degrees it looks like. And then we'll want to like move this probably in here. It's not too bad. Yeah. Cool. And we're going to mess with this again, of course, with like a mountain kind of thing. And there's probably no end to tweaking this. Something like that. We want to, you know, when we mountain it, we want it to have enough room to not completely dip over. You know, it's going to get bigger in some spaces and dip in others. Anyway, we can tweak that forever. I'm just going to call that sphere. And more importantly, we can parent this into the pig head, like so. I would also say a lot of times when you do this kind of stuff, you can say keep position when parenting, just like that, and then it doesn't really matter what your transform is. So just as a safety thing, if you want to stay in the same place when you do the parent, you can turn that on, make the parent relationship, and then turn this off. Didn't really matter for us, but it's often useful. So now that it is parented, as we move the pig head, this thing works with it. And most importantly, we can grab, we're not even going to do anything in here, but this will be our source now, not the sphere that we had from here. So we can say, like, go get that. So get sphere, and we have to say into this object to make sure that we apply that transform. Because if we don't, it'll be just the original sphere at the origin. So into this object when grabbing things that have transforms on them. Okay, so that's pretty cool. While we're in here, we want to get the pig head itself because we need to take a bite out of this thing. As we saw clearly, the pig head is intersecting quite a bit with that. So get pig. You can see I still have into this object on because I just copied this one. We could do a Boolean and literally take a bite out of that. So just to show that you can probably usually use that, I'm going to say subtract. So we started from here, we subtract the pig head out of it, and we ended up with this. And that's not bad. I mean, it's actually pretty much right. The Boolean is great. Let's take the mountain here and just move it up to here. As you can see, even then, even though it's changing every frame, the Boolean handles it. There's really nothing wrong with that. It works great. I'm going to just delete this now. And everything else can follow from that. Still, out of an abundance of caution, I would advise still against using the Boolean for stuff like unpredictable geometry that changes every frame. Booleaning once is fine, but Booleaning every frame based on like geometry that we can't even predict it's going to look like, it's not usually a good idea. So I would say do VDB from polygons. This is going to get turned into a volume in a second anyway. So it doesn't really help us to even have it, the exact polygons the Boolean gives us. So what we can do is we can make a volume out of it. We can make a volume out of the pig head. And we can do a VDB combine. And this does a volume Boolean, which can basically never go wrong. So in our case, we'll say SDF, sign distance field difference. That's what these kinds of volumes are called. Again, surface, level set, sign distance field. So there we go. So now it's perfect. Now, which is the actual resolution, the voxel size of these volumes be? Well, as this thing ultimately makes a volume of this size, we might as well keep using that. And what is this? This is that voxel size parameter that we made. So just put that here, put that here. That way they all are of the same resolution. And then we end up with the resolution, and the output is essentially the same. And there you go. So now we have a dynamically created source. One last thing we should do, speaking of dynamically created, is let's have the pig head go up and down. Right now it's here, and that's fine. But let's add some motion effects, meaning just some fancy ways of sine waves and noises.